And
yeah, Mr. Raphael Osemiki, aka Ralph Six, is a dynamic musician who specializes on drums. He plays both old and contemporary music. He's a music coach and a drum tutor who has impacted a large number of drummers across country and abroad with his skills. He has worked with several reputable musicians, both local and international. To mention a few, Tosin Martin, yay! Late Kimono, Lagbaja, like really? Oh my God! Late Goldie, Big Teddy Music, and many more. You don't want to know, guys. He has also worked with different churches across the country. He was the former head drummer, House on the Rock Church.
That's right.
Okay, we're gonna be talking about that later, where he performed at the Experience for 2 sessions and shared the stage with various foreign gospel artists like John Moyne, oh my God, Ty Trivet, this is Winers, Mary Ronkin, Olive Kirk Franklin, and many more. Ralph Six is an upright gentleman who passionately discharges his duties whenever called upon. Okay, so that's just a summary. That's not in details. So welcome, brother. Thank you so much, guys, for joining in. Please, let's give a round of applause to our guest.
I'm clapping.
Okay, so he deserves all the accolades, knowing all this, all these things about him. He's actually, let me not go there. Okay, basically, let's get to know him. We see him here. Let him just give like an introductory statement before we go in to our topic tonight. Thank you so much for coming again, my brother. We are so happy to have you.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you very much, Yvonne. Thank you very much, James, for having me on the show. And thank you very much to the audience for your patience so far. Yeah, there's quite a bit of technical issue at my end, but we can still go on. All right.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, so well, we are going to be talking basically about etiquette today and comportment. As musicians, these are one of the major issues that makes, a large number of the population look down on us as musicians. Because if you go into a public space and you don't carry yourself well in a public place. Some of us go in a public place and we speak loosely, The way you speak to one another shows disrespect. Of course, when you disrespect yourself in public, the guests, people looking at you, hearing what you're saying, may not feel that, okay, you guys, why are you talking to yourselves like this? They won't come to you. They won't come to you, absolutely. They will look at you guys as, oh, that's how they are. After all, they are musicians. What do you expect?
Yeah.
And then the mentality in that public space about most musicians, although which is beginning to change now because of the trend that we are in. Before now, you may hardly be able to go out in public and say that I'm a musician. Why? Because a lot of people feel that musicians are illiterate. But now we have people who have very high degrees going into music, studying music, getting music degrees, getting music qualifications. And then when you go out there, you see musicians earning good money. You talk of Davido, you talk of Wizkid, you talk of some really nice guys, you talk of some churches who are packaging their musicians very well, both with their individual lives and every otherwise. you know.
Yeah.
So when you go
That's right.
out, a lot of musicians even do better than so many, you know, corporate workers out there. So you can come out looking good. They equip you to look smart. That is part of your etiquette. You look smart. And many times when we go for events, for instance, our churches, you go to a supermarket, you go to malls, restaurants, and you want to walk through the door. For instance, this is just an example. You want to walk through the door, at the same time, a lady is trying to walk through the door. I think it's gentlemanly to allow the lady
To allow her
to
go
walk
first.
through that door first.
Are you
You
sure,
know,
musicians, do we do that?
you know, a lot of musicians don't do that. They don't even know that it is wrong. Meanwhile, you may just be dragging your door with the host of your event. You never know.
Wow.
You may just be dragging the door with the host of the event, or you may be dragging the door that's with someone that has your paycheck. So it's always good, because when we go on stage, we are going on spotlight. Whatever you do on that stage is seen by all. It's seen by everybody.
Exactly.
Whatever you do, whatever goes on that stage is seen by everybody. So your disposition, your behavior before you go on that stage actually counts a whole lot. It counts a whole lot. A lot of people relate with what you do or what you did before you go on that stage. They will be like, oh, I met that guy in the bathroom. He was just speaking foul language. F this, F that, and you know, he was just using the F word loosely. That guy is so dirty. He's so ill-mannered. And look at him on stage.
He's not
Okay, let's say,
well-dressed.
for instance, you know, some of us, this is still about etiquette, actually. I'm coming to that area of comportment in a bit.
Are you talking generally about musicians, or winding it down to gospel musicians? Is it general?
This is beyond just a music thing. It's a general affair, even with a lot of people in other corporate sectors.
Okay.
You know, you find some people, you know, the difference between musicians and corporate sector rather is that, you know, in many of these corporate organizations, many of them go through what we call training.
Yeah, that's right.
During that training, major parts of these etiquettes and comportments would have been taught alongside their training. But in most cases, musicians don't get the opportunity to go through such training except under a church or something. So many a times we find ourselves wanting in these areas. We find a lot of musicians not having the right conduct to attract that level of respect from audience.
Yeah,
you know,
that's true.
It's crazy how, you know, in many cases people will look at musicians, oh, after all, they are musicians now. You go for events, for instance. For some of us that does, that goes from one event to the other, that goes from one show to the other. Sometimes you find yourself in a party environment, for instance. Let's say, okay, they are having, you are performing in an event place like Monarch, where you have a lot of the so-called bourgeois, the big men, coming for that event. And then you get to that event and the event planner does not see the need to allocate it or to set a table aside for the musicians to dine. And then most cases, you find them giving musicians chairs to stay around the stage area. Like, musicians, you are not entitled to a table because this is
my
This
God.
is an event. This is an event for human beings, not for musicians.
I want to speak one pidgin English. Musicians,
Okay.
we don't hear we.
But that is the reality that is happening in the
and
industry today.
it's really sad, really.
I think
I mean,
carry out, honestly.
I'm
It's not
sure
as if they
I'm sure
want
a lot of
yeah,
yeah,
way
I'm
we
sure a lot of musicians can relate with this, right? I'm sure a lot of
Yeah.
musicians can relate. You know,
what are ways that we can actually act, in that direction? Trainings, giving people. I don't know if that makes sense. And just want to
Like,
ask.
I think, sorry, before he says something, I think you
okay.
made mention of churches organizing their own form of training for them. You
Yeah.
know, I mentioned something like that. So if
Yeah,
there are other forms of training,
it's
I
very
think
rare. It's very rare. I'm sure it's a
yeah,
very,
very,
very rare.
very.
Not all the churches were.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. James, you are quite right about churches not giving the exact kind of training that will boost the etiquette level of their people, their musicians, particularly. Churches would give you training based on religious activities most of the time. You know, like sometimes you have the discipleship, the leadership classes, and all. Although during those sessions, you can draw some of these values from those
Yeah.
trainings. So none of this training is a waste. But when you juxtapose this with the corporate sector, they tackle these issues directly, not religiously. They'll tell you this is the etiquette that you must exhibit in this office. And this is how, and with that, if you get into that, the training, if you get the message from the training, you can apply it to your social lives, And so continuing to talk about how people look down on musicians from, you go to an event and then they can't give you a table, and it just shows a lot about how you are perceived from the planner, from the host, and from every other person. Because I believe ideally, in an ideal setting, you go for an event, there are human beings going to dine on tables. Musicians too are entitled to a table usually. Ideally, you should have a table furnished with everything that every other person is eating. If they see that, okay, these guys actually are worth it. But why would they not see it that way? Because of the way we carry ourselves at times.
Yes.
Maybe in the course of
I was gonna say
discussion with the maybe in the course of
we are
discussion with
our
the host.
problem. We are our own
Exactly.
problem.
Yes, in many cases, you get to a venue and you are calling the waiter. You are easing to call the waiter. Where's our food now? Bring the food here. This way, this way, this way. You don't do that. You wait until the food gets to you. If the food does not get to you, you don't have to call. You don't have to just wait. If the food doesn't get to you, just leave it there. Sometimes, and then I found a musician going into the drink drums to take drinks. Struggling for souvenirs. Those
What
kind
you're
of
saying
things.
musicians do, I think other people still do it. I hear people doing it, not just musicians.
The reason why it is particular about musicians is that we are on the spotlight.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
That's why I'm basing this on musicians. Other persons generally is not a good, conduct.
Yeah, it's not. It's not.
Generally is not a good conduct. But I'm just basing this on musicians because this is a musician hangout. We have other persons. So while I'm directing this to musicians, people can pick, you can pick whichever one applies to you. Because generally it's not a good conduct. So etiquette wise, we need to sit up. People need to sit up. We need to behave well, and that will attract respect.
Right.
It attracts respect. It doesn't command it. It attracts the respect. Automatically, you just see that, okay, probably the way you talk, you have to listen when people talk to you. It's still part of etiquette. It
Yeah.
shows respect for the person that is talking.
Mm-hmm.
You know, someone wants to walk, a lady wants to walk through the door, you allow her to go first. It shows etiquette. It shows good etiquette. Something drops from a lady, it's just gentlemanly to help her with. Just about, there are other things.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, something happens, you do something, maybe mistakenly, you hit someone. Sorry, thank you. You know, sorry, thank you. And
Please.
there are so many of those little things that count.
Yeah.
So, but a lot of times you
Yeah.
find musicians who find it, you find people, let me not base this on musicians now, you find people who find it very hard to say sorry.
Yes.
Some people, you do them a favor, and to say thank you is
Especially
a
men.
problem.
Especially men.
Especially men. Well,
Especially men.
no.
That's
Let's
true.
not,
Let's not
no,
start
no,
this
this is not a
topic. Let's
gender
not
thing
start
now.
on that topic. Yeah.
This is not a gender, it's not a gender thing now.
I would say at the top. I would say
You
at the
know?
top. So,
I mean, before he joins us, I mean, the reality. Also, I'll take it from the standpoint of production, where I mean,
okay.
obviously in the production where we
As
have
a producer,
yes,
that you
as a
are.
producer, yes, exactly. So where I mean, obviously we have the producer, then we also have some external hands on, maybe the basses, the guitarists, saxophonists, I mean, if need be, the percussionists and all that stuff, all
Yeah.
just to make that music a good one.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
each and every one of them um, deserves royalty from that music, actually.
Yeah.
So it's not just the playing. Okay, let me play the bass and all that.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
there has been a lot of issues with that. Most I mean, since we're,
Welcome.
we're talking
Is
about
here.
oh
Yeah,
yeah,
thank you very
Ralph, welcome.
much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, we're talking about royalty here. And I
Oh
was
yeah,
just
okay.
yeah, I was just pointing from the production side view of it.
Okay.
So where we have it, I mean, aside the producer who might just be playing the piano, of course, it might need to get external hands on the job, just to give it a quality. We have the basses, we have the guitarists, what have you, have other musical instruments, and I mean, if need be, for percussionists and all that stuff, and so I would say that each of them on a norm, each of them uh, should have a royalty from that song. They should be
Yes.
given that. But if not,
Oh, okay. Yes. Royalty, it's something that is applicable in music industry at large and in entertainment. Royalty is something that is very much applicable, but in this part of the world, Nigeria, that system is still hibernating. It's not happening, it's not beginning to happen yet in our economy. You know, like they say, there's a saying that musicians don't have royalty. That is only in Nigeria for now. But
I
I
want
think
I want
there
any
is a
musician okay, sorry. Go ahead.
there's
Sorry,
a
sorry about that.
okay,
Don't
there's a
mind
way
me.
the
Sometimes I just
royalty is done in this dispensation, which is through the social media links. You put your music on iTunes, you put your music on platforms, and it begins to
Yeah.
generate views and all. That is your royalty for now. You know, that is how we get the royalty.
Oh my God. I don't want that royalty. I'm sorry.
You know, that's how it gets views, it
that
gets
is
people
actually a
stream.
tag. That's a tag there, not a royalty. So we should not.
But
I
that's
don't
what
know.
that's what
Yeah, I
is
get you.
representing royalty in Nigeria now.
I get you, sir.
You know, yeah.
Oh, God.
You are just saying, you are speaking about reality, yeah?
Yeah.
Reality on that, right? And
That's what is happening in this part of the world. But if you say that, okay, I produce a song for you or I feature a song, you are going to get, how many people are committed to that royalty? How many record labels, how many brands, how many musicians, how many artists, how many companies are committing to that royalty? The answer is there's either none or very few.
yeah.
I think this most likely on gospel musicians.
No,
Yeah.
okay,
Gospel
okay,
musicians.
not just on gospel musicians, because many times you find artists collaborating to do a song, like, okay, Olamide featuring Ashake, Wizkid featuring this, maybe Zazu featuring that, Two-Face featuring this. You find out that when they do the featuring, they pay themselves sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm featuring you,
That's true.
I'm paying you to do the song. Why? Why do we think that payment is, if it's a thing of royalty, you won't have to pay me to feature in your song, because I know that whatever becomes of that song, I have a cut in it.
Yeah, okay. Wow.
So the reason why they bring you in and they still have to pay you is because they know themselves that the royalty system is epileptic. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. You know?
Do you think it should be introduced? Do you think it should be introduced and seriously taken into consideration?
Yes, and I think what I feel is that system is being worked on over a few decades. You know, it's just that we don't have the right platform to execute it, to make it work yet. The system is not supporting it. It's not making it easy to function.
Okay.
It's not, yes, it's the system we are in. The system maybe is the way the economy of this country is right now is not allowing it to be easy enough, you know, to happen. Yes, that is why we are just making it happen somehow. Let's just make it happen. Let's just keep it coming until we find the balance. Okay, let's deviate a little bit. Let's go into the issue of piracy. Piracy.
Okay.
Do you know that artists, when you do your song, you now take your song to someone that will pirate it so that your song will blow?
Can you imagine?
That is what happens in the industry. Wow. Now, when piracy on its own is a crime, piracy is supposed to be a criminal offense, right? Now, you'll find musicians, artists take their music to Alaba, that please pirate this song, spread it all around the market so that it will blow. And that is what happens. That's what happens.
Is right now. It's legal right.
It's not legal. It's not legal.
Yeah,
but musicians support the piracy right now.
Yeah.
Because there's actually no systems. There's no systems really. I mean, to curb that.
So that's one way. The other way is this royalty of a thing is just like that same system, which is porous. Royalty in the country is porous right now. So the only way musicians compensate themselves for their work done is putting it on platforms so that when it becomes trending, they can make their little cut from it.
Yeah.
They
Okay.
monetize it. They monetize it on those platforms, and then gradually they make their money, and that is it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm afraid, but I have to say that we have a long way to go. God helping us, because this can't just start and give us results in a short time. Okay, even if we start, I think, like you said we've been working on this for decades, and
Yeah.
there's no, I can't see any reasonable results as regards this, honestly. Maybe that's why this piracy thing is thriving, because if, if what is to be done is done, we'll not be talking about piracy in this age. We're talking about piracy, so it's illegal, it's very bad, it's not to be said out.
Yeah.
Be proud of saying it out at all. I mean, I just hope that men will rise. I hope that men will rise and the body will take responsibility for this, because so many people want to live this kind of routine, if I may say, for lack of words, but they don't know how. They don't really know how to, it's like when someone says that if you can't beat them, you just have to join, because you don't want to be left behind. So you see people, even people who have good hearts, to do the right thing, they can't really do, because they also somehow want results for themselves. They want some gain. I mean, if I use my money to do a production, to do how studios think, it's not just the money, the sweat, the blood, the time, everything, night and day you're working. At the end of the day, you want something to come out of it. So when they tell you nothing is going to show except you go through this route, my brother, you will. Even though in your heart you are praying to God, God forgive me, but you just want something out of it, because that's what's there. That's what is presented to you. There are no other options. Options left are very slim, very, very slim. So I think prayers and push much push and coming together, I think we would thrive with this if we come together. That's my take. If we decide to come together, maybe a body that keeps pressing and pressing and pressing about this, because when you keep talking about something over and over and over, people take it serious. But when you talk about it and leave it, or just push it aside or shove it somewhere, they feel you're joking. So if we keep talking about it, even though you're doing your show at the corner, be talking about it. People get to hear about it. Let them hear about it. With time, it will get into the system. It will get into their subconscious. They begin to work on it. But who won't walk this thing? Now we, because if this person say, I beg, I no fit, the other one say, I beg, I no fit. It's hard. It's very, very difficult to get results from there. So I think we should put heads together, put ideas together, and just not shy away from it. Everything is not prayer. There are some things that we have to talk about. Not just pray. Prayer without works is dead. I'm happy that you talked about general. You talked about it generally, but I'm trying to bring it down, most especially to gospel musicians, because whether you like it or not, these people are looking up to us in a way. Sometimes we look down on ourselves. I feel we look down on ourselves. Like you were talking about etiquette and comportment. Sorry. Etiquette and comportment. Most of the time, because these circular people, they have their way of doing things. We know. People don't really look at them like that. But when they turn and then they look at us, there's a certain way they look at us, because they expect more from us, if I may say. They expect more from us because we are Christians, okay? We are supposed to be Christ-like, yeah? So I don't want to go there. Just that's an aside, but coming back to royalty, we have to put heads together. This is not one person thing. Jeremiah walked by. Oh, Jeremiah, you're welcome. Okay, he's here again.
Okay.
Okay. So that's what I think. I think we have to put heads together. We still have to keep talking about it, keep talking and talking and talking. Like you said, we've been dealing with this for a long time, but I still think we need to be talking about it, like from time to time, if possible, to move from like what we know, from church to church, if possible, because that's where you can actually get people together and control, in quotes, yeah, you have control over these people in a way. You can actually talk to them, let them know what they should, because some people don't know all these things.
Wherever you are, I mean, you are there for a purpose, and even if it's a small community, it doesn't have to just be musicians alone. I mean, you can't just be musicians, and I mean, yeah, you look down on all the other people. Meanwhile, they are the one looking down on us based on the way we communicate, we talk to ourselves in public.
As a strong line. We look at they are the one looking down on us, man.
Yes, really, they are.
I think this is a wake-up call for, many of us to sit up and do the right thing, so that we don't start looking down on people while we are actually the ones being looked down upon. And part of which is, I happen to assist someone at a department, maybe a drum section, yeah, and I was in church. Fine, the person was supposed to be on the drums for that day, and just after praise and worship was after the opening prayer was done, praise and worship was starting on the intro, and this guy walked in singlet and palm slippers on a Sunday morning. Now, when you come on stage,
there's a joke to this, and I'll tell you how I finish.
on a Sunday morning, when you are supposed to be representing a body, like you are representing the church, when you go up there, everybody sees you, right? But when you are on that stage, do you see everybody? The truth is no.
No.
You can't see everybody, but everybody sees you. Why? Because you are on the spotlight. Everybody sees whatever you do. If you bend down to pick a pin, they see what you're doing. Now you are going on stage with singlets. Now let me describe the kind of singlet, not the armless kind of singlet that we men wear, most often. The round neck kind of singlet. Now this guy was wearing the light one. Immediately I sighted him from afar with a slippers on his son, and I was like, this is unbelievable. Is this guy high on something? I was like, is this guy high on something? Immediately I dragged him behind the stage. I dragged him behind the stage, and I said, how could you do a thing like this? Okay, take my jacket to cover up.
Not on his personal rehearsal, though.
that was, for me, it was a very, very poor level of comportment. And then you find some singers, you are on stage facing the crowd, and you are chewing gum. Do you think people are not seeing you chewing gum and singing?
Yeah, that's true.
They see that. You are chewing gum. True. Some people will be on stage. Your microphone is on. You are gisting away. How far now? See TT yesterday? How far now? That girl now, wow. Your voice is going into the microphone.
And were you doing it? Confess. Were you doing
Your voice is going...
brother, you know, trust me.
And then you find out, that all the voices will be going into the mic, and they don't know. They are just gisting away. That's another poor level of comportment, you know.
Wow.
And then I've also been on stage. Now, this one is very funny and very annoying as well. I was at an event doing a gig, and the guitarist of that gig, during the gig, was doing selfie on stage when serious music was going on.
Wow.
With his phone.
Bro, brotherly. I see a lot of that now. Just when you mentioned, was it you or Ann? I mean, we're talking about what guys do. I think Ralph, you're the one. You know what guys do. They want to share what they are doing because the royalty is not coming. Yeah. Right? I know you mentioned that. So you see, I mean, most musicians, they put on their keyboard cam or something, drum cam, I mean, bass cam, whatever, you know.
Okay.
They're live. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, let's take this. Because of what you said now. Let's go into the corporate world. Let's go into the corporate world. Yeah. If you walk into a bank. If you walk into a bank and you see the bank tellers doing selfie while you want to make your withdrawal or you want to do your transaction, let me ask you this. Let me throw the question at you, Anne. What would come to what would be the first thing that will come to your mind?
First, I would say that the person is representing the bank very poorly. I might walk away if I'm not in a hurry. And it will tell badly of the bank. I might even opt to speak to the manager if it's really annoying, depending on how the gravity of it, you know, especially if it takes longer than expected.
You can also spread it to your friends and family not to go to the bank.
Well,
okay. Yeah. I had to use that illustration because of this personal experience I had with, you know, I'm saying this because, you know, I know some of the persons, you know, listening to us tonight may be guilty of this same thing. So if you are that person that does this, I think is a very poor level of comportment, you know, because the people, like you said, in the banking hall, you walk in and you find somebody doing selfie, someone that is supposed to attend to you. You said something. You said the person is representing the bank poorly.
Yeah.
That is the same way musicians represent their brand poorly when they misbehave on stage. Like you go on stage, some musicians will be playing keyboardist. Let me use the word pianist, keyboardist.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, bros. Yeah. I'm coming to your department now. They will be on keyboard. They will keep their phone beside on the piano, and then when the phone rings, they'll pick it up and reply messages while the music is going on. And musicians do this commonly. They'll put the phone on their ear, like receiving call while serious music is going on. They'll be using one hand to play. Wow. How could you do that?
This, right? Is it like this?
Yes, exactly. The eyes, the people looking at you, the people you are trying to play to, how do you expect them to feel that you are not even, you are trying to minister life to people and you are not even taking them serious? How do you want to lead them to, I don't understand. People do that a lot and it doesn't look good at all.
Very indecent, yeah.
Now, when you go on stage is a spotlight. Everybody they want to look up to you. You lead them. So you need to position yourself in such a way that people will look at you and they will respect you from afar. Like, oh, okay, wow, these guys, they know what they are doing.
Yeah.
Not that this one will be receiving phone call, this one will be, you know, gisting away, this one will be laughing like some, I don't know. And then eventually, the whole purpose of, you know, winning lives or ministering to, whether you do secular music or gospel music or whatever kind of music you do, it's still ministration.
Yeah.
So I think that should be taken
Yeah.
more seriously with a very good level of etiquette and comportment.
Seriously.
Bishop
Seriously. I
comportment.
wrote something down here. Comportment.
Okay.
Yes. Advantages, as we were talking, it's actually not part of it, but as we were talking, I had to fish this out. What are the
Okay.
advantages of comportment and etiquette? What are the advantages? What do we stand to gain? I know we've talked about us not engaging in them, but
Yeah.
if we have to do them, what do we stand to gain?
Does it bring food
Very
to our
good.
table?
Very good. First, we gain good image.
Okay.
We gain good image
Okay.
because when people look at you from a distance like that, you look, they look at you like, okay, we are supposed to be icons. Like, oh,
Yeah.
this person represents this.
Mm-hmm.
We represent something each time we go on stage. We represent something. If you go on if you go on stage as James, as Doomfeb, you go on stage as Doomfeb. Whatever you do on that stage represents Doomfeb. So if you comport yourself and you exhibit a good level of etiquette before you go on stage and around the stage area, you give a very good image about Doomfeb. That is one. Number two,
That's right.
it's the part of the benefits of good etiquette and comportment is recommendation. Part of the etiquette is recommendation, because if you can keep an upright level of etiquette, people see that, okay, this person etiquette, in other words, for some of us that may be struggling with understanding the meaning of etiquette, it can also mean respect.
Yeah. Self-respect.
Just respect people, mind your speech, talk nicely, behave nicely, help people.
Respect your instruments.
Also respect your instruments, part of the etiquette.
Yes,
Thank you.
really.
Thank you, Mr. James.
Oh,
Thank you.
okay.
It's part of the etiquette.
Yeah.
The way you
That was on a
handle
serious
your
note,
instrument
though.
is
I know
also
I
the
played, but-
etiquette. Say sorry. Say sorry. Be quick to say sorry when needed. Say thank you when anybody does anything to you. All these things, they will bring you recommendations. They'll say, oh, before they say, that person is very nice. Oh, that person is this, is that. So part of the benefit is recommendation.
Okay. Very
Yeah.
powerful.
Thirdly,
Very powerful.
I'll say that part of the things that, for instance, I cited an example of a guy that came in singlet and in palm slippers. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
How about he has worn some piece of nice wares and looks smart. Do you know that if he does that, it will make him even comfortable for himself.
Exactly.
He was not comfortable to go on the stage. So part of the benefit of etiquette and comportment is confidence. It gives you confidence. Because, if you don't, when you are not doing well. People know.
Yes, of course. Sure.
You walk into an event arena and you see that you are underdressed, that, I'm not fit to be here. If that guy knew that, if he didn't know that he wasn't fit to be there, he would not take the jacket I gave him to cover up.
Please,
Yeah,
am
that's
I
true.
fit? Am I fit to be there? I mean, what I put on is it okay to be here?
Like for
Oh my God.
well, so
Yeah, I've
all
not
these
answered my
things.
question though.
No. This is a hangout. This is a
No,
hangout,
no,
so
no.
we
It's
can
Oh
just
not.
my
talk.
I mean,
God.
we're actually spotlight here. And I mean, like you mentioned, yeah, this is actually our
No,
spotlight.
this is a hangout. You know
Where
Not a
does
this.
being
okay.
yourself and being real?
So are you telling me to put on my singlet during a hangout, please? I want to know.
No, you can't put on your singlet, obviously. If I had come on
Okay.
this platform, with my bare chest showing in the dark background, you would have
Oh
been
my
worried for me, right?
Yeah,
God.
true,
Yeah. I'm sure you'd have
true.
encouraged me to go on audio. Say, Mr. Ralph, please go on audio. So part of
Oh
the
my God.
benefits, like I said, is confidence. It gives you that confidence to,
Yes,
to relate, with people, to even stay and do your job. It gives you that
yes.
confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have a question for you, sir.
All right. Go
I
on.
have a
Go on. Go
question.
on.
I can read it for
Joanna
you. Do you want me
said,
to read it?
okay, please read it. Yes.
Okay. Because we're not. We need to be seeing your face. Yes.
Okay. The light.
Okay.
Oh my God.
So Joanna Mawumi. Okay. I'm sure I pronounced it right. Okay. So this
Yeah.
your question goes thus: where does being yourself and being real come into this? Because too conscious of the rules also takes away authenticity from performances. Mr. Ralph.
Okay. Very good
Wow,
question.
that's a
Very.
critical
What
question.
if I understand the question very well? It's not tough. What does being yourself and being real, right,
Yeah.
Yes.
come into play in all of this,
Mm-hmm.
right? Okay, I
Yes.
think that's what I understood by your question, if I'm correct.
Mm.
Now, being yourself, let me start by saying that entertainment is show business. When you do music, it's show business. Now, let me break that down. That's a little bit, that terminology is a bit complicated. Now, let me break it down in a
Yes.
very brief term. When you do music, why do you practice? To perfect your presentation, right?
Yes.
If you want to be yourself, you could just go on stage and do it freelance, freestyle. And when you mess up, you mess up. When it's good, it's good. That is being yourself. But in this context, you cannot be yourself. You have to
Completely.
deliver it.
Mm.
You have to deliver it perfectly, spotlessly. You have to learn the music, perfect it, and deliver it.
Mm.
What's that other one? Being yourself and
Being real.
Being
being
real.
real.
Yeah, being
Yeah.
Now,
real.
when you learn whatever you are going to present, you have left that zone of being yourself. You are no longer being yourself. Now you have to be real with what you have learned so that you can present it to the people as you have learned it. Okay, let me give a funny example of what I'm trying to say.
Okay. That's good. Yeah.
In churches, most especially, you find during rehearsal, maybe it happens basically with singers. They will rehearse, okay, you learn the song, okay, do this is the intro, this is the outro, this is the body. And then when you get on stage of
You be
performance,
yourself.
you will
Abi.
say the spirit led you to sing another song.
Mr. Anne, confess.
That is being yourself, right?
Many times.
Yeah. Many times you
Yeah.
find out that the spirit that is leading you is just an instinct that is telling you that this song has been in my mind since yesterday,
Let me just
and
sing
then
it.
let me just
Mr.
sing it.
Ralph, Mr.
It's
Ralph,
not
you are not,
particularly the
Oh
spirit.
my God.
Mr. Ralph,
With
you
spirit.
know, you know, as music director,
Let's
I hear a lot of things. Now, after
okay.
rehearsal, sometimes after we have rehearsed, and I mean, we are good, we are arranged the key, the song list, and what have you. I mean, then the next thing I will see, I mean, midnight or early in the morning on Sunday, that the Spirit of God don't want me to change my list. I was like, okay. So what happens to those who are going to back up? They have the Spirit of God there to back up the songs. So who's going to back up? Is it the Spirit? Is it the Spirit that is going to back that? I mean, I was like, okay. So what's going to happen to the arrangement? It's funny sometimes, and
if you're doing a special song, it's different. Not when you're working with people. If you're working with people, you have to keep to the rules.
Exactly.
I mean, follow this.
Yeah.
Follow it.
So,
just follow it like that. You
sorry,
can't just. Nah.
Music is not something that you can do with self. It's something that you need to do professionally. You see, even God.
It's a combination. That's also another point there. The combination of sound that is pleasant to the ears. Your ears are your audience, right? So, but they have to be a combination. You can't do music alone. Even if you want to sing alone, you're going to, I mean, you can't really do music. I mean, you can't just remain there.
Apart from that, I think discipline has to come to play. We should stop spiritualizing a lot of things, you know. Professionalism has to do with, it works hand in hand with discipline. We should keep to the rules, okay? And stop giving excuses for all those things. Please continue, my brother.
So to further buttress your point that we should be disciplined.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's dive into the secular world of music.
Okay.
We said something about, being yourself, and I was saying something about show business. That music entertainment is show business. Do some of us know that some of these entertainers hire Rolls Royce to go for shows? Why? Image.
Wow.
Do we know that they hire jewelries to go for their shows?
Yeah, costumes.
Why?
Yeah.
Show. Image.
Yeah.
Okay? If they wanted to be themselves, probably the guy will wear his, maybe, the normal t-shirt and the palm slippers, that he usually wears at home. Or the Crocs.
Oh my God.
To go for the show. But if you go... if you go into your show looking like that, please, how would people look at you?
Irresponsible.
Thank you. Or let me ask again, if you walk into a church and you look on stage and you find out that everyone on that stage is wearing, let me get really extreme, singlet and boxers, and then the ladies are wearing bra tops, how will you feel? What will come to your mind? Like, won't you, as a con-Christian, I will first of all run away.
Yeah.
I will run out of that place. I will say, wow, where am I? Am I in a shrine?
Yeah.
But we try to make our choristers, our music team, we try to make them look good. The major reason why some churches will suggest that their musicians should wear uniforms and their choir should wear uniforms is all about image. So you cannot do music with being yourself. You have to do music with being real. But when you are doing it with being real, you have to put the audience into your context. You have to put them in consideration. So that is in answering your question as being real. And
thank you for that very, very explicit answer to the question. Joanne, I hope we have dealt with your question. I think she's still there. Okay. I think we have actually dealt with this topic tonight, and we would like to round up just a brief summary of what we've talked about. Okay, I put some things down here. I said musicians should have a form of training, which was what you highlighted in the beginning. We must carry ourselves right. This is actually what I wrote from what you said. We must carry ourselves right
I like
so
your
people
jacket.
could take us
Anyway.
seriously. Thank you. So people could take us seriously. We look down on other people, whereas they are the ones looking down on us. So we have to be very careful before you look down at anyone. Be careful that be sure. The Bible says, "He that thinketh he standeth should take heed." Okay. Before you judge another man, make sure you are standing well. All right. Okay. So we okay. I think I've answered that. And I asked about the advantages of comportment and etiquette. You said etiquette means short respect. The short form meaning of the etiquette means respect. And I added that respect for self and respect for others. Okay.
Others,
respect
including
yourself.
your instrument, your musical instrument.
Including your instrument.
Yes.
Okay.
Including your voice. Respect your voice. Don't. Yeah.
Respect. Yeah, that's really true. Advantages of comportment and etiquette.
The black one. Yeah.
He said that we gain good image. One of the advantages of being comported or comportment and having etiquette is you will gain good image. You will be recommended. You get recommendations, and you will be confident. It gives confidence. Okay. That's just a summary of what we talked about tonight. I'm so happy that we finally got Mr. Raf. In the beginning, I was almost giving up. But
Thank
finally,
you for not giving up. Thank you for not giving up.
Yeah, Don Feb said maybe if he doesn't come, I said we will get to him. You will get to him, and it's really, I think it's been worth the wait. It's been worth the wait, and thank you for your wealth of knowledge. You are so eloquent and confident and knowledgeable, and we appreciate that.
It's a pleasure being here.
When we invite you again, you would grace it again and have to be with us. We are so grateful.
When you invite me again, I'll talk to you in light.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Where is Don Feb? Yeah, where is Don Feb? He has left us. Okay, no wahala.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Have a beautiful night. We will talk. Yeah. From
all right.
time
All right.
You.
Thank you. Yeah.
And also, bye. I want to say a big thank you also to Joanna Omawumi. Thank you so much for hanging with us. She's been here for quite a while, and we really, really appreciate you. Thank you for your questions. We hope that Mr. Raf was able to deal with it or deal with them. Thank you for coming with us. Thank you for staying with us, rather. We hope to see you again next week as we touch on other interesting topics. Thank you so much. God bless you. Good night. Bye.
Good night. Bye.